Shabbat Shalom, dear Mishpatim. It's a blessing to be once again back with you to share the word of YaHuWaH. It's been already 3 weeks. We have been missing you a lot, and we are so glad to be with you once again here in this channel and in this new Shabbat. And I have been reading the comments before starting this broadcast, and we thanks all of you for your prayers, your support, your kind words. We have been missing you as well. But we're back, and that's good. That's a good blessing from YaHuWaH for us, for all of us, that we enjoy these studies week after week. We managed to spend some time with family. It was around 2.5 weeks that we were spending time between us. And I think it was good. We have a good time together. But now we are back to do the service of YaHuWaH, and that's what feels in our heart. So, anything you want to share?
I felt that I was missing the gathering, and I needed, and I thought that it was like I felt that it was like what Israel lived. Sorry for my English, my broken English, but I felt that it was like the experience that Israel had in the desert. Like they were needing some water, some bread, and finally Abba gave that bread from heaven. Sometimes he put some instrument in our lives, and he helped us to go through until we have the second milestone and then reach again. And I see Shabbat like that. He gave us the strength and the power to continue in this journey. So
good words. And I think this is totally connected to what is written, that we need to gather ourselves together.
Yeah.
And we don't have the chance to gather face to face, but at least having this platform to gather ourselves virtually, I think is a good way where how YaHuWaH is connecting us, is filling our heart, because we have been saying this for so long. No matter that we don't know each other face to face, we feel your love here in our hearts, and we really hope you feel our loves for you in your hearts too. And it's the Ruach, the one connecting us all. So I hope you have been doing your homework, reading the portions every week. It's important that we study the word of YaHuWaH, especially in these times. It's a bit crazy what's going on, because every day something happens in this world. Every day, every week we have some news of crazy things happening in the world, and we see the word of YaHuWaH and the prophecies in the scriptures being fulfilled in front of our eyes. And that should assure somehow our faith, our emunah, that the way we decided to walk, the decision we made a few years ago, is a true decision, is the true way. And we should have our expectation up there, waiting for the moment of our redemption, waiting for the moment where Mashiach will come back. And I think that moment is very soon. So, this morning I was reading something like I used to do, and I landed in a place in the scripture that I want to share with you. This was for me, and I think it's applicable somehow for these times. And I want to share it because maybe it's something that can help you as well in your walk. And this is in the book of Malachi. This is Malachi, in Hebrew is Malachi. Is the chapter number 1. So I want to read it for you. You want to take your scriptures in your hand, go ahead and just go to the book of Malachi in Hebrew. And we're going to read the chapter 1 in this case. So it says the following: the message of the word of YaHuWaH to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, said YaHuWaH. But you asked, in what way you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, declares YaHuWaH, and I loved Jacob. But I have hated Esau. I have laid waste his mountains and his inheritance for the jackals of the wilderness. If Edom says, we have been beaten down, let us return and build the ruins. YaHuWaH Sebaot said thus, let them build, but I tear down, and they shall be called border of wrongness, and the people against whom YaHuWaH is enraged forever. And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, great is YaHuWaH beyond the border of Israel. A son esteems his father, and a servant his master. And if I am the father, what is my esteem? And if I am a master, what is my fear? Said YaHuWaH Sebaot. Do you priests who despise my name? But you asked, in what way have we despised your name? You are presenting defiled food on my slaughter place. But you asked, in what way have we defiled you? Because you say, the table of YaHuWaH is despicable. And when you present the blind as a slaughtering, is it not evil? And when you present the lame and sick, is it not evil? Bring it then to your governor. Would he be pleased with you? Would he accept you favorably? Said YaHuWaH Sebaot. And now, entreat the face of El to show favor to us. It has been done by your hands. Would he show favor to you? Said YaHuWaH Sebaot. Who among you who would shut the doors, so that you would not kindle fire on my slaughter place for naught? I have no pleasure in you, said YaHuWaH Sebaot, nor do I accept an offering from your hands. For from the rising of the sun, even to its going down, my name is great among nations, and in every place incense is presented to my name, and a clean offering. For my name is great among nations, said YaHuWaH Sebaot. But you are profaning me, in that you say, the table of YaHuWaH is defiled, and its food is despicable. And you said, oh, what wettiness! And you sneered at it, said YaHuWaH Sebaot. And you brought in plunder, and the lame and the sick, that you have brought in the offering. Should that I accept this from your hand, said YaHuWaH? But cursed be the deceiver, who has a male in his flock, and makes a vow, but is slaughtering to YaHuWaH what is blemished. For I am a great sovereign, said YaHuWaH Sebaot, and my name is feared among nations. You know what caught my attention? Because there are many things here in this passage. But what I felt when I was reading this passage in the morning is that I think YaHuWaH first talking to me, maybe to his people today, is that we need to present an offering, a clean offering to him. Is that sometimes we are get entertained so much into what's going on in the world that we are not offering the best to him. This is exactly what he's saying at the end in the verse 14. But cursed be the deceiver who has a male in his flock and makes a vow, but is slaughtering to YaHuWaH what is blemished. We need to always offer to YaHuWaH the best of us, the best of our praises, the best of our worship, and somehow is connected to what we are going to see in the portion today, especially in the first part. I didn't tell you about this because it was a kind of a surprise on this.
Well.
Okay. But and I wasn't that convinced that I needed to share.
No.
But in these times, I think it's important that we focus on the way we are serving YaHuWaH. That we are serving Him with the best of ourselves. And sometimes I can tell you it's not an easy. I'm facing it. We are facing it because we are getting somehow caught by the day-to-day, getting caught by the system of the world, getting caught on everything that is surrounding us. And sometimes all of this is taking our focus and and our mindset to a different direction, instead of being focused on the kingdom of YaHuWaH, instead of being focused on our true north, or the true objective, that is the inheritance of the kingdom. So as part of our day-to-day prayers, as part of our day-to-day analysis, we need to ask YaHuWaH to help us in order to change our mindset, our mind, our thoughts, our hearts, in order to do all the effort in our hands to serve Him with the best, to offer Him the best, because He is the Father, as it was written here, and we need to esteem our Father. And how we esteem here is by giving Him back, because He is the one giving us everything, is by giving Him back the best of us. That was my take on what I was reading this, and I hope this also is going to be a good word for you, especially in this time on connected to what we are gonna discuss today. So, any final words before we move forward?
No, that we have to keep with our focus on that direction, not on the back. This is a new day, and every day we have, as YaHuWaH said, this is your day. You are living today. Not worry about tomorrow, not worry about the past. You have one north, and it's the kingdom of YaHuWaH.
That's so important, and sometimes we are so entangled on looking into the past. It's happening it's happening to all of them, to all of us. Yeah. Not only to you, it's also to me. And it's not easy because we have been living many experiences, but if we look back, it's not to get trapped on experiences from the past. If we look back, it's not to learn totally. What's more important from my point of view is to see what YaHuWaH has done for us. Where we were in the past and where we are now, and that should give us hope on where we are going to be if we truly believe and trust in YaHuWaH, and we have been doing so far. And also, it should give us a boost of emunah, faith, is that if this so far the work has been so difficult with ups and downs, and we have been able to reach to this point, is that no matter that the continuation of the way is going to be with ups and downs, if we truly believe in the same way that we have been doing, and even if we do it with more belief, the end result is going to be even better.
Yeah.
Good. So let's move on. So what do you want to do first? The parsha or the song?
The parsha.
The parsha or the song?
Yeah, the song. Yeah.
Let's go with the song.
Yeah, the song, the prayer, and then the...
Okay, let's do that. So let me share with you a song that we just found today.
Yeah, it was
and
really
I think
nice.
it's connected to the...
What we're going that's
It's
funny.
connected to what I was reading from Malachi. What I received this morning is connected to the other one. So let's listen to this song.
Okay.
So let me just prepare this one for you. This is Keep the Fire Alive. This is the title of the song. So let me share it with you. Here we go.
יש תמיד דוקה על המזבח, על המזבח לא תכבה. Keep the fire alive, keep the fire alive on the offer to you, oh, sacrifice of praise. We offer to you. Keep the fire alive. Keep the fire alive on the altar. Fire on the altar will never cease. So let it rise forever burning. Let it arise. To you we're returning. Your glory arise. Faithful and true, a sacrifice of praise we offer to you. A sacrifice of praise we offer to you.
We just found this song
Yeah,
today,
today.
and we found it so beautiful. You know, especially the video with these rocks as an altar and the fire burning.
Yes, sir.
And that should be, you know, the way that the fire of YaHuWaH should be burning in our hearts. And as we talk in the past, you know, it's our responsibility as priests to keep that fire up, is to keep that fire burning. And, you know, was the priest the one bringing the wood in order to fire up the altar? So we need to, it's our responsibility to do it day by day. So with that spirit, let's pray together before starting the study. YaHuWaH Elohim, we want to give thanks to you in this moment because of your blessings, because of your compassion, because of your love. Thank you, Abba Todah, because you are the one making a way for us to continue in your ways, to continue having that fire in our hearts, despite the difficulties around us, despite everything that's going on in the world. You are guiding our steps, and you are keeping that fire and that love for you within us. We want to give thanks to you, Abba, because you are the one opening the doors and helping us to have this gathering. And because you are the one filling our hearts with joy and shalom. Just because we are able to connect with your brothers and your sisters around the world to study your word. Thank you, Abba, because no matter the distance, we feel each other so close. And we feel each other so close, not only between us, we feel each other so close to you during these gatherings. Todah, Abba, because we know your presence is with us. And because we know your Ruach is the one guiding us in every moment, in every experience. And because of your Ruach is that we are echad for you in you, feeling this love for you and for each other. Thank you, Abba, for giving us the opportunity to be once again here. And we pray in this moment to you that as you have done it in the past, that you can guide this study, that you be the one speaking through us, and not only through us, the two of us here, it's through your people connected here in this live broadcast, that you can give us of your insight and your wisdom, so that all together we can learn from your word, in order to be like you are, in order to serve you in the way you want us to serve you. We pray for your children that are sick or going through sickness or going through difficulties, that you can be with them, that you can touch them with your hand in order to provide healing, in order to provide restoration, in order to provide solutions to their problems and trials, in order to provide a way out on their current difficulties. We trusted in you in the past, and we trust in you now, that you are the one guiding our steps in your ways. And we want to be your servants. We want to serve you with everything in us, and we want to give you the best of us every day. Forgive us for everything that we do, sometimes that is going against you. Cleanse us with the blood of Mashiach, in order to be pure for you, in order to be set apart for you. And prepare us in your likeness and in your image, because we want to be a reflection of who you are here on earth. And we want to be your witness here, especially in these times of darkness, to be a light in this world, being servants of Mashiach. Thank you, Abba, for listening to our voice. Thank you for opening your ears to our prayers. We know that you answer the prayers of your children, and we are attentive to your voice and to your guidance, Abba. Thank you for your love and for everything you do for us. And we pray in this moment with all our heart and with all our being. And we do it in the name of YaHuWaH HaMashiach, our Melech, our King.
Amen.
Okay, and I just managed to see while I was hearing the song that Corina is at a surgery and she's going through recovery phase. And Corina, if you are listening to us today, we are praying for you. We miss you, and we hope to have you here with us very soon.
Yeah.
And our love and our heart is with you. In the same way that is with everybody here. You know, that's the way that we need to show and demonstrate that we are the disciples of Mashiach, by loving each other. So let's move on and let's play the Parsha in 60 seconds. Let's see what's the summary of this week.
Yeah.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 seconds. Today's portion is from Exodus 21:1 through 24:18. It is called Mishpatim, which means laws. God tells Moses to give the people the terms of the covenantal agreement. Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 elders were invited by God to bow to God from afar. Moses presented the word of the Lord to the people, who answered, "All the things that the Lord has commanded we will do." Moses then wrote the commandments down. He built an altar and young Israelites offered sacrifices. Moses read the covenant to the people, who agreed to follow it. Moses took the blood from the sacrifices and dashed it on the people. Moses and his crew then ascended the mountain, saw God, ate and drank. God told Moses to come up the mountain to receive the tablets of stone which contained the commandments. Moses and Joshua arose, and Moses ascended Mount Sinai, leaving Aaron and Hur in charge. A cloud covered the mountain, hiding the presence of the Lord for 6 days, appearing to the Israelites as a fire on top of the mountain. Moses went inside the cloud and remained on the mountain 40 days and nights. And that is Mishpatim in 60 seconds.
Mishpatim in 60 seconds. You know, we will have a lot of Mishpatim today, so let's go one by one. Let's see what the Ruach is bringing to the discussion today. I have my notes from from the past, and I think we are gonna do some of this because there were multiple things that Allah was touching my heart in the past that I think is important to reinforce part of those things. And I saw Corina. I saw much a blessing to see Corina in the chat, and it's something from Corina that I remember. Is exactly what the Shirion said. It says the smiling face, and that's true. You know, the joy in you, Corina, is something that should be contagious to all of us. We need to have that smile in our face because of salvation of YaHuWaH. So let's move on. Let me put the screen here with the scripture, and let's go to Shemot chapter 21. And you want to start first?
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, just because I read it before.
Because of that. Okay.
Okay. It says, these are the right rulings which you are to set before them.
Let's stop there.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah, okay.
Because, you know, then we start to describe all of the right ruling. I know we have something to share maybe regarding the first items. But the right rulings, what are the right rulings? You know, if you do a small study of that word in Hebrew, right rulings is Mishpatim. It's Mishpat in singular, Mishpatim in plural. And actually, when we understand Torah, Torah is being somehow connected with different things. The Hukim, Mishpatim, mitzvot, commandments. So Mishpatim is one of the most important things here in scriptures.
It's like an ingredient.
It's kind of ingredient. It's one of the part of what it means, the full instruction of YaHuWaH for his people. And you know what? One thing that is starting here is that YaHuWaH revealing to Moshe the Mishpatim, but he's saying the Mishpatim you are to set before them. So it's something that should be
established.
It's something that people should take with priority, with the right importance, because it's part of what YaHuWaH wants us to consider in our way of life. And that's why, you know, when we start seeing the different Mishpatims, all of them are so applicable to somehow it's applicable for today, but it's more related to how to live in society. And that's the beautiful thing of Torah, that though we see some hukim that are instructions that it doesn't make sense for our human mind, there are mishpatim that totally are applicable for the day-to-days and relationship type of issues. And just thinking that YaHuWaH is even considering these type of things for our benefit, for me it's amazing. It's something, it's an act of love from YaHuWaH. But Mishpatim are so important. I have few verses here that maybe we should revisit once again, just to reinforce the idea of the Mishpatim. So let's go quickly to the book of Tehillim. This is the book of Psalms. I'm getting blind, I think. 19, verse 9. Actually, let's read from 7 onward. And it says the following. The Torah of YaHuWaH is perfect, bringing back the being. The witness, the edut of YaHuWaH is trustworthy, making wise the simple. These are the other item of Torah, the edut. You know, what is just an example of the edut? And you can find if you do your proper study of in Torah, in the Tanakh, in the entire scripture. One of the edut was the 2 tablet stones are considered edut. That's why the Ark of the Covenant also is being mentioned in the scripture as the Ark of the Testimony. The edut are the testimonies, the witness. And everything that was inside the Ark was also considered edut.
Yeah, the
manna, the rod of Aharon. So those are edut. And this is, you know, there's a more profound meaning on this because everything is connected and pointing to Mashiach, those edut. And the only fact that YaHuWaH established the Edut as an important aspect in Torah from the very beginning. Is showing us his plan of salvation from always, and especially in some items related to the God of Aaron. So Torah is perfect, the witnesses are trustworthy. Verse 8 it says, the orders of YaHuWaH are straight, rejoicing the heart. The command of YaHuWaH is clear, enlightening the eyes. Let me put here the King James just to confirm. The Pikud. Interesting. This is something in addition I haven't studied in details about the Pikud, and I think I need to do it. The mitzvot, here, the commandments of YaHuWaH, is clear and enlightening the eyes. If we want to have light, we need to keep the commandments. And the fear of YaHuWaH is clean, standing forever. The right rulings of YaHuWaH, the Mishpatim of YaHuWaH, are true. They are righteous altogether. So, here is it's a beautiful summary of what Torah is and everything that Torah brings to our life. And in this case that we are discussing the Mishpatim, it's clearly written here. The Mishpatim of YaHuWaH are true. They are righteous. And we are in a way of righteousness. We need to find the way that we are becoming righteous in the way of YaHuWaH, in the eyes of YaHuWaH. That we are going from being a sinner to become a tzaddik, become a righteous people. Okay, so one point of what's the importance of the Mishpatim. Let's go to the chapter 37, verse 27 and 28, I think. Let's see. It says, turn away from evil and do good, and dwell forever. For YaHuWaH loves right ruling. YaHuWaH loves Mishpatim, and does not forsake his lovingly committed one, he Hasidim. They shall be guarded forever, but the seed of the wrongdoers is cut off. So this one is so beautiful because it's connecting the right rulings, saying that YaHuWaH loves right rulings. He loves Mishpatim. That's why, because of he loves Mishpatim, he decided to put them as an important part of his instruction, his Torah, in order to be set and establish in his people. But he's connecting this passage, the right ruling, to doing good. Because he said in the 27, turn away from evil and do good. So how we're going to do good is by keeping and doing and guarding the Mishpatim. So if we study the word even further, Mishpatim, this is coming from a root word in Hebrew that is shafat, and this word is connected to shofet, and shofet means judge. So that's why this word sometimes has been translated in some of the Bible versions as judgments. Okay. So that's why when we see, in other people doing the Torah portion every week, they are translating Mishpatim as judgment. Actually,
justice.
No, judgment.
Okay.
Judgment. So why I'm mentioning this is the connection between Mishpatim and judgment. Why? Because we know that the end times, the last judgment will come. And we know that the righteous judge is Mashiach. YaHuWaH is giving and appointing Mashiach to be that judge at the end times, that he's going to judge the world as we see and read in the book of Hasson, Revelation. And if he's a righteous judge, and if we understand that the word shofet or shafat, that is translated judge, is connected to Mishpatim, right rulings, how do you think, and how do we think he's going to perform the judgment at the end times? By doing what? By using what? Mishpatim. Mishpatim and the entire Torah. So let's see, I think I have an example here. Let's go to the book of Yeshayahu, Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 1 to 4, it says the following. See my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one. My being has delighted in. I have put my ruach upon him. He brings forth right rulings, Mishpatim to the nations. He does not cry out, nor lifts up his voice, nor causes his voice to be heard in the street. A crushed reed he does not break, and smoking flax he does not quench. He brings forth right ruling in accordance with truth. Mishpatim according to truth, with truth. And what we read in Tehillim, that Mishpatim are true. He does not become weak or crushed until he has established what? Mishpatim where? In the earth. And the coastlands wait for his Torah. So what YaHuWaH is going to do when he's coming back, he's going to establish the kingdom of YaHuWaH here on earth. And part of the kingdom of YaHuWaH is the establishment of Mishpatim on the entire earth. You know, it is written, I don't remember where, is that the righteousness will fill the earth. And that's why Mishpatim is part of the righteousness of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. He is coming to do that. And no matter that, and that was part of our discussion before when we were reading the portion, no matter that, you know, the punishment, let me say it like this, the punishment of the broken the Mishpatim is not applicable in our times. We are being commanded to learn this Mishpatim because of the importance of what it means that YaHuWaH loves Mishpatim, and also understanding that the moment that YaHuWaH is coming, he's going to establish Mishpatim on earth. So we need to learn it now in order to be applied later. We can apply it now in our day-to-day, but for sure, it's going to be kind of mandatory.
Yeah, it's going to be part of the house rules.
Yes, to apply later at the moment of the kingdom being established. And the last thing to mention here, just to talk about the importance of the Mishpatim, is what YaHuWaH talk about this. Let's go to the Brit Hadashah, the book of Matthew, one of my favorite chapter. This is chapter 23. And YaHuWaH said in the verse 1 to 3 the following. Then YaHuWaH spoke to the crowds and to his taught ones, his disciples, the Talmidim, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit on the seat of Moshe. Therefore, whatever they say to you to guard and do. But do not do according to their works, for they say and do not do. And you know, in the past I have been sharing this understanding. And you know, when I remember when I found it, it was so profound because, you know, Isaba the only one opening the eyes in order to connect the dots in his scripture, in his word. And this is totally connected when YaHuWaH was talking about the Pharisees sitting in the seat of Moses. You remember that some archaeologists found a seat of stone. And it was found that there was it was being called, the city was being called in the past the seat of Moshe. And this is totally connected to what it is written in a previous portion. Let me go there just to put the picture all together. In Shemot chapter 18, verse 13 to 16. And I think this was last week. It says the following. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe sat to rightly rule the people. And the people stood before Moshe from morning until evening. So you see the connection is the Pharisees sitting in the seat of Moshe. And we see here in Shemot 18, Moshe sitting down. So the seat of Moshe is related. When YaHuWaH was speaking about this, he was referring to the act of rightly rule the people, is to share the Mishpatim with the people. Is exactly what Moshe, to instruct on the different Mishpatim, was exactly what Moshe was doing here in this portion. And we know that Jethro was telling him why you are doing this, and he appointed the different elders,
so they can divide the work.
To divide the work, and he was going to take just the most difficult and cases.
Yeah.
But what was the idea here is to judge situations, cases, and most of the cases are related to social issues,
The day's life.
day to day. And in this time is so relevant because all over the place in every part of the world we're facing social issues. If we, and you remember we wanted to do this, and maybe we should do it.
What?
Is to understand the social issues of today
Yeah.
to the light of the word of
Yeah.
YaHuWaH.
How we should live.
How we should live, how we should apply the social issues of today, like
How to live with the elder people.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
How to live in our case when we don't have a secular job anymore and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. About health, insurance, and
yeah.
things like that. So in this case, we see exactly YaHuWaH pointing out to Moshe by telling his disciple, listen, hear, and do, but not do according to their works, because we know that the Pharisees were not doing according to what Moshe instructed. They were doing according to their own traditions, and they still do actually. When we were reading part of the portion, I remember what happened during the flight. You were telling me the other day.
About the milk. It's
and
mentioned.
Yeah, it's mentioned there. So they are going
the
through their own traditions and rules, and not according to the easy way to.
And they are setting more and more
burden, as YaHuWaH said, upon the shoulders. So YaHuWaH, by saying this, he was pointing out to Mishpatim that the Mishpatim are so important, and he even reinforced this idea in the same chapter. Let's go back to Matthew, chapter 23. In the verse 23, because he said the following: "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you tithe the mint and the anise and the cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the Torah, the right ruling, and the compassion, and the belief. This need to have been done without neglecting the others." So here YaHuWaH is reinforcing even more that right ruling is one of the most important things in Torah, together with compassion and belief. So I'm gonna keep it like until there because we want to go with the Mishpatim. But just to summarize, Mishpatim are really important.
Yeah.
YaHuWaH himself reinforced the importance, and YaHuWaH loves Mishpatim. So we should study Mishpatim in a day-to-day and understand how to apply those to our lives. So with that introduction, let's continue. Okay, let's go ahead to verse 2.
Okay, when you buy a Hebrew servant, he serves 6 years, and in the 7th he goes out free for naught. If he comes in by himself, he goes out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons and daughters, the wife and her children are his master's, and he goes out by himself. And if the servant truly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go out free, then his master shall bring him before Elohim, and shall bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
no, you want to share something? Let's stop there.
Okay, okay.
And actually, I will invite everybody. This is an important item of the Mishpatim, and I think it has a more profound meaning. So, if any of you here in the chat that wants to share your view on this, please go ahead. I think it's important that we discuss a little bit about this. But in the meantime, you can share your view on this.
Yeah, I have like a parallel. Is like not only in our current life, maybe we are servant in some aspect because we have some relation and we are providing some service, and in some cases we receive some services too, but also with the relation with our Abba. And in this case, it says that he served 6 years, and in the 7th he goes out free. and that maybe he had two conditions. He was maybe alone, or he was married, previously married, or he was provided with a wife by his own master, or in this case, Abba. And I saw like a parallel that it called my attention when it says here that the master provides him a wife. And it's like similar when it reads in Bereshit, when it says that Adam was put in a sleep, and then it was YaHuWaH who brought YaHuWaH or Eve, and brought YaHuWaH to Adam. So I can see a parallel in that case. And sometimes when I was discussing with some friends our decisions in life, sometimes our decisions were made in our ideals, our friends, what they were doing. And so, I don't know, for instance, I have some friends that they said, no, I got married because all my friends were getting married, so I didn't want to be the only single one. Some other, no, because he has a very good situation, so I want to have a very good life in this life, so I got married because of that reason. No, because our families, they were raised together, so I don't know, I just think that I fell in love and everything. But we never, maybe it was not always the case that we let Abba, who was giving you that person, and he was doing that. So I think that we can see that resemblance, or we can see that action when Abraham was asking to his servant to go and find a wife for his son, Yitzhak. So I think that there's different situation, and maybe our path in our lives is going to be different. What we are doing. In this case, it says if he arrives alone, he's going to be left. That servitude period alone. And he was coming with the wife. He's going to live with the wife. And it was different in this case when he has children. And he was in love with the master, with the wife and the children. He loved the life that he was doing. And he offered to continue to be there, but not only for the payment. It was because all the life that he was getting was something that he really realized and he enjoyed. And that is the moment when the owner of this servant decided and is going to do an action. He's going to make a seal. He's going to do something that is going to pierce the eye, the ear, it says. And he's doing it at the doorpost. So for me, being at the door, I think that is in the door of the master. It's because it's near to his house, where is everything, the place, is like the kingdom of YaHuWaH. Is that is near to him. And for me, the meaning of the piercing the eyes is that not only that is for a sign that you belong to me, because for sure it was something that it was maybe, I don't know, with an earring, something that it was decorative, that it was unique, showing the property. But also meaning that he was going to listen and he was going to obey all the instruction of the owner. So it's like YaHuWaH, what is telling us. I'm going to open your ears so that you can hear what I'm going to say and you can live in that what you're going to learn. So all that.
Good. I think it's a good word. It's a good comparison.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are many things I was reading in the chat, and absolutely, this is a foreshadow also of the plan of restoration and salvation, because it says 6 years of work,
It's like
and
this,
then the 7 years going free.
Free.
And
Like
it's the same Kadosh cycles of the Shabbat. You know, it's also in this portion talking about the 7 years of the cycle of the soil, the earth.
Yeah.
So those are the Kadosh cycles that are pointing out to the plan of restoration, that man was appointed 6 days for work, and we know that part of the punishment on Adam because of the sin on Gan Eden was to work with difficulties.
Yeah. So maybe
So-
previous was work, but now you have things that are
Yes, it's gonna make it more difficult. So prophetically speaking, we're talking about the 6,000 period of time. Until then, it's gonna be freedom with the millennium kingdom of YaHuWaH HaMashiach here on earth. So this is one way to see it. But talking specifically about this decision from the servant. And I think Karen mentioned something about this as well in the chat. It's a voluntary decision to stay with the master, and it's being triggered by love. He decided to stay with the master because he saw the benefit of being with the master. He saw that he was living a good life with the master, that the master was loving him and he loved him back. All this decision, it is written here that it's because of love. It's exactly what he said in the verse 5. And if the servant truly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go out free. It's because of love. Not only love for the master, it's love for the wife and love for the children. And that speaks another thing in addition, and I think it's somehow related to what you said. Is it's about just what?
It says there is some issue with the microphone. Maybe it's because this is close.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Maybe because I'm far away from the microphone.
Okay.
It's is that everything belongs to the master,
Yeah.
and the master is the one providing
Providing.
to the servant. So we are the servants of YaHuWaH, and he's the one providing everything to us, but it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to him.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, you know, in one of the passages here is demanding, and he's asking actually the first one. They belong to him.
Yeah.
So that relationship, it's important to understand that we ourselves doesn't belong to us, to ourselves either. We belong to YaHuWaH. We belong to him. And so this is something I haven't always believed, and we have spoke about this in the past. Is that I think life is going in this kadosh cycle as well. Our own lives are going this cycle of 7. You know, in this cycle of 7, something happened in our lives that is important. Not necessarily maybe in the 7th year, but during the 7-year period, we divide the lifetime in 7s.
There's
Something happened important in each one of those 7 years period of time. And when I was reading this earlier, you know, something that I felt is so important is that you know, if we truly believe this about this 7 years period in our lifetime, is that we need to commit ourselves to become a bond servant of the master, you know, during this period of time. And then not necessarily, you know, each one of the period, but it's something that we need to remind every time, is that we can go out free, you know.
He's not going to have it here against our will.
And let me put it in this case, and I'm gonna use my example. So, you know, I started to walk in Torah back on 2012 approximately. So maybe this was one of the important situations that happened in that 7 period of time. And if I assume, just to put the example, so my mic is not sounding well, so let me put myself closer to the mic. So if I assume, just for the sake of the exercise, if I assume that 2012 was the year of starting the counting, it means that 7 years later, or at the end of 6 years later, I can go out free. But I could decide not to go free. I can decide to belong to the master. So what's the point I want to make, and what I was mentioning, I was feeling earlier, is that we need to do a conscious decision, and maybe everything that's going on in the world today is pushing us even to do a more conscious decision to become this bond servant, is to tell the master, I love you. I want to stay with you. Everything I have, everything I do, everything is around me belongs to you. I don't want to go out anywhere. I want to stay with you. I want to be part of you.
Maybe we don't know, and there are happening maybe strong things or trials just before that time. So there are going to be our, I don't know, our, how do you say, like the split of our road, maybe.
And if I follow my example of what I did, my 2018 was a horrible year for me in different aspects. So it could be somehow related to what you're saying. Trials are coming in order to deviate us from the way, somehow to go free and do whatever we want, instead of becoming a bond servant of the master. And maybe this is coming,
and also not
in a cyclical way.
Not only on year basis. Maybe now it's been even in weekly basis. Maybe and that's why it says that the pain are coming more close one another, like the birth pain. So yeah.
So maybe it's a cyclical thing that we need to do, and we need to reinforce our vows, to the master, telling him, I love you.
Yeah.
I want to be your servant forever.
I want to continue. And
to allow him to pierce our ears. And piercing the ears is so beautiful, because it's not clear here in this passage what was the ear, was the left or the right. But let's assume for a moment that it was the right. And there are two cases in the scripture that are talking about the right ear.
The priest.
In the blessing and the preparation of the Kohanim. They were putting some blood and also oil, I think, in the right, in the ear, in the thumb.
In the thumb of the foot.
Exactly. And also is in the case of the lepers. The lepers are having exactly the same. So I think this is so relevant to this, and I was reading something earlier as well about this, and I found it very beautiful. It's not the same Hebrew word. Actually, I was taking a look in the Hebrew word for piercing, and the word here, and let me read it, is what it is. It's here in the verse 6. Is the here is the word ratzah, and it appears only once in the scripture. Okay, so no matter, it's not the same word. I think it's so relevant to what is written in the book of Tehillim, and I think it was Tehillim chapter 40, if I'm not wrong, because piercing, what it means to pierce is just to make a hole, is to somehow to dig, is to open something. Okay, and piercing is to open something in order to and I think it's so relevant to the ear, because it's when we hear, and the Shema it says here of Israel is basically we need to hear and be obedient. Tell me.
No, that's why they put the blood on the ear of the priest or the Kohanim, because when you pierce something and you pierce the ear, you are going to get some blood.
Yep.
So it could be that the meaning that you are, I don't know, like making I don't know, that is the result.
It's a covenant.
Visual result.
And blood is part of covenants. And we will read about this in the same portion. So having blood on the doorpost, is pointing out to Pesach, first Pesach. It's pointing out to covenant. It's basically a covenant between the servant and the master that he's not going free. He's going to become a bond servant forever because of love. And the beautiful thing here on this portion is that it's giving us given the servant the ability to make that decision. Is a voluntary decision. It's not an imposed decision. It's a voluntary one. So what is written here, just to go back to what I was saying, in the chapter 40, verse 6 of the book of Psalms, the Tehillim, it says the following: a slaughtering and meal offering you do not desire. You have opened my ears. A sending offering and sin offering you do not ask for. Then I said, see, I have come. In the scroll of the book it is prescribed for me. I have delighted to do your pleasure, O my Elohim, and your Torah is within my heart. So, when we see here the word written here for opened, it's not the same Hebrew word as we see in the portion today, but somehow is pointing out to the fact of the actions of digging, opening a hole, is opening something. That's what was translated as open. So, and we know that this Tehillah, these psalms, is a messianic psalm. It's connected and it's pointing to YaHuWaH HaMashiach. So YaHuWaH HaMashiach saying, you have opened my ears. If I allowed to do it, you have pierced my ears. You have opened my ears. And why this is so relevant? Because when we go to the book of Philippians, I think it's in the chapter 2, verse 5 to 8. Paul was writing this about Mashiach. For let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahushua, who being in the form of Elohim, did not regard equality with Elohim a matter to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, and came to be the likeness of men. And having been found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death even of a stake. So Yahushua became a servant. And he became a servant because of love. Now, if Mashiach became a servant, and actually he gave this instruction even to the disciples, that we need to be humble and also be servant with one another, is that we need to follow the same example and because of love to become a servant. And what's the beautiful connection, just to end with this, my comment here, is that it says that the master needs to bring the servant to the door. And who said
I am
that he is the door? Yahushua said many times in the book of Yehohanan, John, I am the door.
He's knocking at the door.
By he's saying that I am the door, let's put ourselves is that we need to go to the door to Yahushua in order for him, being the master, or even Abba, because they are echad, to pierce our ear to the master Yahushua in order to become a bond servant. And to do it in a cyclical basis in order to reinforce our commitment of love to the master and with the blood of the covenant. So I think it's a beautiful picture on what should be our attitude, becoming servants of Yahweh. Okay, let's continue.
We are just
Yeah, but I think it was the most important thing we wanted to share. The rest are the Mishpatim, and maybe we can share part of the applications of today.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
When a man sells his daughter to be a female servant, she does not go out as a male servants do. If she is displeasing in the eyes of her master, who has engaged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people because of him deceiving her. And if he has engaged her to his son, he is to do to her as it is the right of daughters. If he takes another wife, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are not to be diminished. And if he does not do these three for her, then she shall go out for naught, without silver. He who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. And now we are going to start with the death
sins of death of
so we have to be very conscious about this. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into his hand, then I shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee.
This is talking about the manslayer.
Yeah.
You remember you
When
have
it's
the
for
series of protections
when
and
it's
so
an
on.
accident or something
But,
like that.
and this is an important difference about the murder.
Yeah.
You know, he who strike a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But you know, when you are not doing it intentionally, it's an
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah.
There's a different. YaHuWaH sees this in a different way.
But when a man acts presumptuously, I don't know how to do that, against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you are to take him even from my slaughter place to die.
Mm-hmm.
So it always called my attention, and I think
There's a story about this.
Yeah.
In the Book of Kings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That it's that we could be there in a very close position with him, and maybe that could be also a way of testing our hearts, testing what we are going to do in a certain situation. So nothing is for sure, nothing is like a guarantee. We have to take care of each day of our action.
True.
So, and he who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death.
And we can stop here because it's exactly what's going on in today's society.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, this is part of what is written in the word is that should happen in the end times. Was Shaul, Paul, who was writing about the last day generation, that they're going to be a rebellious generation without loving their fathers, respecting their fathers and mothers and so on. And I think it's just for us to open the eyes and we will see it's exactly happening today. Yeah. You know, even governments trying to get the right of parents over their children.
Some governments,
yes,
they are the owner, like them.
And you know, this is happening all over the world. This is an idea that is being pushed so clear now, so openly. You know, and this is exactly what they're trying to do, to take the rights of the parents over the children. And then, and that's why, because of this happening, we see that this movement is going totally against the ways of YaHuWaH, because the ways of YaHuWaH, he has established family and he has established parents as the responsible ones over the children. And we have a lot of responsibility. We need to do a good job there. But also children have a responsibility, as we see here, to respect father and mother.
And he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or he who is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And when men strike the other, and one strikes the other with the stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be innocent. He only pays for the lost time and sees to it that he is completely healed. And when a man strikes his female or female servant with a rod, so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be punished. But if he remains alive a day or two, he is not punished, for he is his property. And when men strive, and they shall smite a pregnant woman, and her children come out, yet there is no injury, he shall certainly be punished, according as the woman's husband lays upon him, and he shall give through the judges. But if there is injury, then you shall give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, lash for lash. And
then, you know, this is I remember you have mentioned this in the past. The understanding of the eye for an eye.
Yeah, this is the
specific case.
Yeah. The problem was that people were applying this
to
to
everyone.
and that's why then when Yahushua was mentioning about this, that he was given the instruction that we have to forgive our neighbor and not using this, I think that it was also related to the wrong use of that.
True. How this could be applicable for the abortions?
Wow.
Because it's talking about a pregnant woman.
So, and at the end, you can see that the result is that every person who is practicing that or helping to have that
is guilty and punishable of these kind of things.
Of that. Yeah.
And it's the amazing thing is that this is giving the responsibility to the husband of that woman to make it a decision of what to do.
What is going to be the punishment?
True.
So wow. And when a man strikes the eyes of his male or female servant and destroys it, he is to let him go free for the sake of his eyes. And he knocks out the tooth of his male or female servant, he's going to let him go free for the sake of his tooth. So that means that you have to treat, if you are in a position that you have people with you, you have to take care about their well-being.
That's why people in positions has a bigger responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm not talking being in position, in a church, in a spiritual way. For sure, is applicable too.
But also,
in society, we are talking about Mishpatim that is applicable to any situation in life. So at work, or that community, or anything, even at home.
Yeah.
This is exactly that we need to people in responsibilities in leadership. They need to apply somehow, in my view, the same instruction given to a king in Torah. Like he should not put himself above his brothers. It is written, and in order to avoid him to do that, he needs to study Torah. He needs to write down Torah. Because he's in a place of being a servant. He has a bigger responsibility, and that's why he needs to treat the others as himself equally and in service. It's exactly, the being humble as Mashiach. Is becoming and having the attitude of Mashiach.
Yeah, maybe here we can see the example of people who were damage in the eyes or in the mouth, so they cannot see anymore. They cannot have the food properly, maybe because one tooth more missing, I don't know. They cannot eat properly now. So if you put that in a spiritual perspective, if someone is going to cause that somebody cannot see the truth anymore, or that cannot receive the food of our Father, is also to be guilty somehow. And maybe not only that, he's taking one part of the body of the other person, and not only physical, also spiritual, that is going to cause him problem to live this life. So we can think about all the people who have been in position of, I don't know, a very mean boss that was causing a lot of trouble to one employee, and that person was suffering, I don't know, mentally, because he was stressed. That person was suffering, was maybe couldn't work properly, so couldn't live a very decent life because his life was affected. And not only on that, maybe, I don't know, when some parents, maybe they are some abusive with the children, they want to, I don't know, to create a very high standard, and they forget the capacity of the other person. I think that is also to be considered in these verses.
And I think exactly what YaHuWaH said about
compassion.
About killing. It's not physical killing. It's even to say a fool to his brother is going to face the Gehenna.
Yeah.
So that's going to It's a kind of Torah 2.0.
Yeah, it was like
Just to understand a deeper meaning of Torah.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're saying and doing now. It's not just to knock someone out and to take a teeth. We can knock at somebody not physically only, is by words, by attitudes, by manners or anything.
Yeah.
And you know, when I remember, this is not exactly the same, but I remember when we were working in the field.
Yeah.
And Harold had the accident.
Wow, yeah, I don't remember that.
It was a horrible situation. You know, we hired an electrician, and he was trying to help us in something with water, and we didn't ask. He offered and he started to do it. And because of doing some work with the pipes, you know, the pipe was broken, and it hit his nose.
Yeah.
And it broke the nose, and it started to bleed a lot. So, you know, I don't know why I remember this, because it's somehow a kind of relationship. It's not
and we felt very guilty because he was trying to help us.
Yes, and we were in that position of I don't know, leadership, because he was working for us. And he was trying to help us. So you know, I think it's the Torah in the hard working out these kind of things, is that because not everybody react in the way that we reacted. You know, we left everything and we started to help. I took him to the hospital.
Yeah, we helped him with the bills
and with everything in order to help him with the restoration. You know,
and
everything was
even
good.
the final result was even best, because he has a deviation before on the and now his nose was...
And even we went to the point to help him financially to pay for the surgery. So, you know, I remember because somehow it's not 100%, but somehow it's applicable to what we were reading here. You know, it could be any kind of situation that we are in, a situation of leadership, or somebody's somehow depend on us. Is that we need to act in the way that the Mishpatim, the Torah of YaHuWaH, is instructing us to do. We need to take care of the people that are depending on us. It could be at work, it could be in any kind of activities, it could be at home, it could be you know, in a community, it could be spiritually speaking, and so on.
If we are seeing that they are at risk in somehow because they are being, I don't know, not taking all the precautions, and we realize about that, it's our responsibility to let them know. And it's also in the spiritual realm that if we see somebody who's going astray, I think that is our responsibility to try to let them know.
And you know, I'm gonna use a phrase of a movie. I don't know why it came to my mind. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, and that's true.
And why? And the spice part.
I didn't know.
So it's totally true. And why I'm saying this? Because we are being prepared for a great responsibility. And we are going to have great power too. What I'm talking about, we have been appointed to be kings and priests. We are going to help YaHuWaH to establish the kingdom and to reestablish righteousness on earth, as we were reading before. So if we don't learn to act in this way, with this attitude, being a servant, understanding that we have a responsibility over those that are being appointed to us, thinking that we are going to be king and priest, how we're going to do our job later on. We need to learn now in order to become a righteous king, a righteous priest, a righteous servant later on, during the establishment of the righteousness on earth. Okay? Let's continue. You're taking too much time, you know?
Yeah.
It's 3:24 and we have not read even the first chapter. I am the one speaking too much. Go ahead.
And when an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall certainly be stoned, and its flesh is not, and the owner of the ox is innocent. However, if the ox was previously in the habit of warring, and its owner has been warned, and he has not kept it confined, so that it has killed a man or a woman, the ox is stoned, and its owner also is put to death.
So how we can apply this? We don't have oxes, or maybe you are living in the countryside. Maybe you have, but in the city have domestic.
People, they have some pets and things like that. Maybe. So you have to be responsible about their behavior or how they relate with the other people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And if a sin covering is laid upon him, then he shall give the ransom of his life, whatever is laid on him, whether it has gored a son or gored a daughter, according to this ruling, it is done to him. If the ox goes a male or female servant, he has to give to the master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox is a stone. And when a man opens a pit, or if a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls in it, the owner of the pit is to repay. He is going to give silver to the owner, and the debt is his.
You know, this could be we can change the ox or donkey for any asset from the people.
Yeah.
Something that belongs to somebody. Yeah, and actually there are more Mishpatim in the next chapter that somehow connected to what I'm saying. But we need to understand that we have a responsibility over something that belongs to somebody else.
Yeah. Where I'm going? Okay, here. And when the ox of a man smites the ox of his neighbor and it dies, then they shall sell the live ox, divide the silver from it, and also divide the dead ox. If it was known that the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has not kept it confined, he shall certainly repay ox for ox, while the dead beast is his.
Okay, so let's move on with the chapter 22. But let me check the chat just a bit. It's not the thought in itself that is a sin. We should. Okay, they're talking about thoughts, and that's true. You know, sometimes we need to analyze the thoughts in our minds. So let's continue. In chapter 22, it says, "When a man steals an ox or a sheep and shall slaughter it or sell it, he repays 5 cattle for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If the thief is found breaking in, and he is struck so that he dies, there is no guilt for his bloodshed. If the sun has risen on him, there is guilt for his bloodshed. He shall certainly repay. If he has not the means, then he shall be sold for his debt. If the theft is indeed found alive in his hand, whether it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he repays double." So, you know, it has to treat situations about the people trying to take things from us. You know, sometimes we find laws in our nations that are not totally aligned to what is written here. It's totally different. When a man lets a field of vineyard be grazed bare and lets loose his livestock, and it feeds in another man's field, he repays from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. You know, and we had an example a few years ago, the person just letting his animals free in the countryside. And was eating the field of the neighbor, and they had a huge fight.
Over that.
Yes, and then here the instruction is quite clear how to judge the situation. You know, if we are sitting in the seat of Moshe, and they're coming to us, and they're relating to what happened, we know how to judge.
Yeah.
And this could happen, you know, in any kind of things. You know, this Torah is specific in this situation, but we can translate and correlate the situation
to the current activities.
We're doing. When fires, and you know, in Chile we have been facing a lot of fires. We were not in Chile actually in the last few weeks, and we were very concerned about what's going on in the country. You know, when we were reading this before, we just immediately remember what happened here. When fire breaks out and spread to thorn bushes, so that stacked grain and standing grain, or the field is consumed, he who kindled the fire shall certainly repay. And you know why I remember? Because there is some evidence that this was not was intentional fires happening here in the country. So here Torah is very specific. You know, those
they should have paid, but
they should pay for the damage.
Yeah, but in reality,
And that's not happening, you know? So let's continue. When a man gives silver or goods to his neighbor to guard, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he repays double. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought before Elohim to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. For every matter of transgression, for ox, for donkey, for sheep, for garment, or for whatever is lost which another claims to be his, let the matter of them both come before Elohim. And whomever Elohim declares wrong repays double to his neighbor. You know, I see this verse 9 somehow is the instruction of Moshe for the judges. You know, every difficult matters you need to bring to me.
Yeah.
And in this case, I think it's a difficult matter because you are saying exactly. You're saying no, that's belong to me. How you're going to prove that? I'm gonna say that's belong to me, and we have a beautiful example of wisdom in the book of Mishle. I think it's Mishle. I don't remember if it's Mishle or no. It's in Kings.
The Solomon.
It says the decision of Solomon, Shlomo, when the two women were saying, "No, it's my son."
He was receiving the wisdom of knowing the detecting who was the real mother.
What to do. So YaHuWaH is gonna act in the same way with all of us. We are gonna be able to judge a situation with the wisdom of YaHuWaH, even if we don't know what to do. And that's applicable even to our own decisions. You know, if we have to decide something, we need to allow YaHuWaH, and we need to let him to guide us on how to decide using his wisdom. You know, that was that when I was reading this to somebody, he was I was talking to Cristobal sometime on this in this case of Shlomo, and I think I did it with somebody else. And when I get to the point that when I said that the Shlomo decided and commanded to, kill the son, they were looking at me, but how come? But he has a wisdom beneath, that for sure the real mother was going to shout and try to save the son. Yeah. So let's continue. When a man gives to his neighbor a donkey or ox or sheep or any beast to watch over, and it dies, or is injured, or is driven away while no one is looking, let an oath of YaHuWaH be between them both, that he has not put his hand into his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept that, and he does no repay. So we can say when a man gives to his neighbor a car, some jewels or some asset that I have to watch over, we can apply this in many situations in today's life. But if it is indeed stolen from him, he repays to his owner. If it is torn to pieces, then let him bring it for evidence. He does not repay what was torn. And when a man borrows from his neighbor an iPhone, yes, Shirion, also could be applicable to an iPhone, to a laptop, or the whatever. Exactly. And when a man borrows from his neighbor and it is injured or dies, while the owner of it is not present, he shall certainly repay. But if his owner was with it, he does not repay. If it was hire, he is entitled to the hire. It's much easier because the owner was there. He has a responsibility over his own stuff. Yeah. And that's why, there is a saying here that in Chile, I don't know how to translate it. Even I forgot the saying. El lo ajeno reina la desgracia.
In the things that you're not the owner, a lot of bad things could happen. You have more probably.
Yes.
Yeah. something like that.
That's why, with that saying,
That you have to
it means
to
that
avoid
it's to avoid to get something or to
something.
take care of irresponsible or
Yeah.
that's something that belongs to somebody.
Yeah. Usually, when somebody wants to give you something to take care of, you said no. Please no, because-
If I'm going to give you the keys of my car,
yeah, I'm going
and
to
I say no, because you can have something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So here somehow it's applicable. It's better to not to take the car in this case,
Yeah.
or to take the car with the owner. Okay, I'm gonna drive for you. I'm gonna drive you there. And when a man entices a maiden who is not engaged and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he repays according to the bride price of maidens. So he's, a kind of insurance for maidens. If a bad guy is coming, he need to pay. And it's giving the father, like always, as it is in the scripture, the
bride price.
The decision.
Sorry.
If she's going to remain with this person or not.
Yeah.
It's interesting that woman has a price.
And she's going to say, yeah, please, I want to stay and give him a discount.
So let's continue. Do not allow a practicer of witchcraft to live. Anyone lying with a beast shall certainly be put to death. He who slaughtered to an Elohim except to YaHuWaH only is put under the ban. Do not tread down a sojourner or oppress him, for you were sojourners in the land of Mizraim. Do not afflict a widow or a fatherless child. Every time that I see people saying that doesn't make any sense, it's totally wrong to follow Torah, I remember this passage, this one, because we see all over the place in the Brit Hadashah, even Mashiach himself talking about this, Kepha writing on this, Shaul writing on this on his letter, to take care about widows and fatherless. And what is the basis of the foundation of this teaching in Torah? Is one of the Mishpatim.
Yeah.
Is do not afflict any widow or fatherless. If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry, and my wrath shall burn, and I shall kill you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless.
Yeah.
So here is the foundation. Torah is the foundation of what YaHuWaH came to do, is to give the real meaning of Torah.
Yeah, because they are in a less favorable situation, so we have to be even more careful about their needs. Why? She's a widow. She's not going to have maybe the income or all the resources to Torah, maintain the family.
Even Torah is instructing us to take care of them.
Yeah.
During the feast.
Yeah.
In any other places that we need to take care of widows, fatherless, and so on. And this is something I have to say, we are not taking it with the priority.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for us, we time to time we help, but maybe it should be more frequent.
Yeah, and not also is talking about the real or the physical experience. It's also talking about the spiritual.
Yes.
When they have somebody who is not out here, maybe they are kind of a widow in the spiritual way of thinking.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's continue. If you do lend silver to any of my people, the poor among you, you are not to be like one that lends on interest to him. Do not lay interest on him. So all the banking system, the financial system, everything is based on interest.
Yeah, but it's maybe because it says of my people or not.
And we are his people, and what's the financial system is doing?
Yeah, no, they are working on interest. That's their reason.
So that's the point, the system of the world, the system of the beast today is being built and has been built totally corrupted to the light of the word of YaHuWaH.
That's why we have to try to even not to depend on that kind of system, not to go there.
That's correct. Let's continue. If you take your neighbor's garment as a pledge at all, you are to return it to him before the sun goes down. For that is his only covering. It is his garment for his skin. What does his living And it shall be that when he cries to me, I shall hear, for I show favor. Very important, because it's the same thing about taking care of poor, taking care of being right and righteous in any situation. Do not revile an Elohim, nor curse a ruler of your people. And this is something that, Shaul in the book of Acts remembered, and he mentioned when he was slapping the high priest, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And he didn't know who was the high priest. And this is very interesting, because he didn't know it was the high priest because he was not wearing the high priest
Clothing.
or garments. Do not delay giving your harvest and your vintage. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Likewise, you are to do with your oxen, with your sheep. It is to be with its mother 7 days. On the 8th day, you give it to me. It's a picture of circumcision.
Yeah.
And you are set apart men to me. And you do not eat any meat which is torn to pieces in the field. You throw it to the dogs. So the dogs are eating anything, even meat.
Yeah.
That's why, we did this connection in the past about the dog participating actively during the death of the firstborn in Mizraim. So, one thing I have in the notes here, and what are the importance of all of this, and why all of this? And I think it's somehow summarized here in the verse 31. It's everything related to Kodeshah. All the instruction and the Mishpatim is in order to us to be set apart to Him, because we are set apart to YaHuWaH. And how to become set apart is by keeping His Torah, is by keeping the Mishpatim, is by walking on these things. And walking meaning is to put into practice, is to do it as a habit.
Not just fret about them.
Yes, exactly. There are certain things that maybe we cannot apply 100%. But it's the process to learn. It will come one time when we are going to be able to apply this completely. Time is coming soon. You know what I'm talking about. Let's go to the chapter 23.
Do you bring a false report? Not put your hand with the wrong to be a malicious witness. Not follow a crowd to do evil, nor bear witness in a strife, so as to turn aside after many.
What's happening in the world today with the demonstrations all over the place, protests all over the way.
Yeah. We have to avoid.
We need to avoid these kind of things, not to follow a crowd to do evil. I remember, when we had this issue on October 2019 here in Chile, it was a horrible situation, social unrest all over the place, and so on. And I remember my daughter wanted to go to a demonstration and said, "No way, you come home."
Yeah,
because sometimes, especially in these times, everything there is a smoke going on that is not allowing people to see what's the real thing happening. So everything is being painted as we are doing because of social requests in order to improve our ways of life, and it's not because we want to destroy, it's not because of anything else. So the people get this bait, and they are following people. And unfortunately, we people behave like a flock. We just need 1, 2, 3 people doing the same, and it's becoming a massive thing. And people, when this is coming, a massive thing, people don't think. They do only. But we are being commanded to think and to do, but do according to what is written in the word of YaHuWaH. Let's continue. And this is really important, the number 3 with the number 6.
Okay. And do not favor a poor man in his strife. When you meet your enemy's oxen or his donkeys going astray, you shall certainly return it to him. When you see the donkey of him who hates you lying under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving it to him. You shall certainly help him. Do not turn aside the right ruling of your poor in his strife. Keep yourself far from a false matter, and do not kill the innocent and the righteous.
Yeah, let me make some comments here, because we see two opposite commandments, Mishpatim, here for the poor. It says in the verse 3, and do not favor a poor man in his strife. So this, we can see it, and just to try to interpret this one. You're tired. Yeah?
I don't know. Yes, I fell asleep.
Yeah? You
Settle.
want to sleep?
Yeah, settle.
You want some water?
No,
And there's no water. Okay. Later. Is that we should not favor a poor man. It's a kind of going in a negative way, we can say so against the poor man. He's not going to get benefit because he's poor. But in the verse 6, it says differently. Do not turn aside the right ruling of your poor in his strife. So basically, it's that we need to be right to the poor. So the conclusion we got at the end when we were discussing this earlier is that we should not judge people because of their position
or their conditions.
or their conditions. We need to apply
Right ruling.
right rulings and a right judgment. And there are many examples on this. I remember James Jacob in his book writing about this. When the two people are coming to the assembly, one is coming with a poor guy with poor clothes, and these are rich people, and he's saying don't treat the poor one, and not allowing him to sit in this place because he's poor. So he's giving this example because of the same. He's applying somehow what is written here in Torah. And the other comment is about verse 4 and 5. When we read in context, I see a beautiful connection to what somebody else said. When you meet your enemy's ox or his donkey going astray, you shall certainly return it to him. He's talking about things that belongs to my enemy. When you see the donkey of him who hates you lying under its burden, you shall refrain from leaving it to him. You should certainly help him. What's talking about?
Love even our enemies.
YaHuWaH said in Matthew 5:44, but I say to you, love your enemies, bless those cursing you, do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you. It's exactly the same.
This is
Do
putting
good.
into action.
Exactly. Do good to those hating you. And here's the action is to do good in the verse 5. Do good to the one hating you. It says, YaHuWaH said, love your enemies. When you meet your enemy's ox, you shall return it. So it's a practical way to love our neighbor, to love our enemies, is to love those one hating us.
And maybe those kind of actions are going to change the situation why you are in a different path. Because usually being an enemy of somebody is because they have opposite views on something.
Yeah.
So maybe that is going to be, the change.
So who can say that YaHuWaH was not teaching Torah?
He was.
It is clear he was teaching Torah, absolutely. So you were reading or I was reading?
I was reading.
Okay.
When you see, keep yourself far from a false matter, and do not kill the innocent and the righteous, for I do not declare their own right. And do not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the seeing one and twists the words of the righteous. And do not oppress a sojourner, as you yourself know the hearts of a sojourner, because you were sojourners in the lands of Mizraim.
And we are sojourners, still sojourners in the world, in the wilderness in the world.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because he said, I do not declare their wrong right. And you remember it says that at the end times, a lot of people are going to say the right is wrong and the wrong is right.
And this is exactly what's
What is
happening today,
happening?
They're declaring the wrong things right and the right things wrong.
Yeah. But we know that Abba is one line.
Mm-hmm.
And For 6 years you are to sow your land, and shall gather its increase. But the 7th year you are to let it rest, and shall leave it. And the poor of your people shall eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field eat. Do the same with your vineyard and your olive yard. 6 days you are to do your work, and on the 7th day you rest, in order that your ox and your donkey might rest, and the son of your female servant and the sojourner be refreshed. And in all that I have said to you, take heed, and make no mention of the name of other mighty ones. Let it not be heard from your mouth. The importance of the Shabbat. And in the weekly Shabbat, the yearly Shabbat.
Those are the Kadosh cycles, is days and years. I have it written here. 7-year cycle is the Shemitah, and the 7-day cycle is the Shabbat.
What happens if I rest 2 days? For instance, on Shabbat, but on Sunday I do not anything related to work. Maybe a light.
You're breaking
I'm
Shabbat.
breaking Shabbat. I'm breaking the commandment.
Yeah, you're breaking the commandment because you're resting 2 days. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I think in the way that I understand Torah is establishing the baseline.
Okay.
You want to do more, you can do more.
I do a little on Sunday, but not.
You can do more, but you cannot impose in others to do more. It's your decision.
Yeah.
This is what we are doing on Fridays. We are keeping Shabbat from sunrise to sundown. Right?
Yeah. But we are adding.
But we are keeping as our own tradition.
Yeah.
From Friday night. Sometimes we are doing it earlier on Friday. Sometimes we are doing very late. Sometimes at 3 a.m. on Friday. Actually Saturday in the Gregorian. But we're flexible in our own tradition.
Yeah.
And we are doing it because we want to do it. But we are not imposing others to do it. So if you want to rest 2 days, it's up to you. YaHuWaH is not going to tell you not to rest.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to think that you are lazy.
Yeah.
But it's something that you need to talk to him.
And where? Yeah, okay. And 3 times in the year you are to celebrate a festival to me.
Yeah, just let me, before you continue, let me say something, because the cycles is a prophetic implication. This is exactly what we were reading before about the going free in the case of the servant at the 7th year. And is the prophetic implication actually in the book of Hebrews, and it mentions something on this. Let's go to chapter 4, verse 6 to 10. Since then it remains for some to enter into it, and those who formerly received the good news did not enter in because of what? Because of disobedience. Not hearing, not doing. He again defines a certain day today, saying, through David, so much later, as it has been said, today if you hear, we need to have... He needs to open our ear to become servants. His voice, do not harden your hearts. For if Joshua ben Nun, son of Nun, had given them rest, he would not have spoken of another day after that. So there remains a Shabbat keeping for the people of Elohim. For the one having entered into his rest has himself also rested from his works, as Elohim rested from his own. Why am I bringing this up? Because of the cycle is a prophetic picture of the freedom and the final rest on that 7 period time. 6 days or 6 years, the final day, the 7th day, or the 7th year is the final rest for the people of YaHuWaH. But what we need to do in order to enter into that rest, we need to do the opposite of what the people from the past did. Was the opposite of what they did. They were disobedient, they were not hearing, they were not doing, they were rebellious. What we need to do is the opposite. We need to be obedient, we need to hear, we need to do. And this is exactly what we're studying, how to do this and how to apply it to our lives. Let's go back, Shemot chapter 23. I think you were at the
That
end.
was a new number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
No, this one.
Yeah.
14.
Guard the festival of Sot. 7 days you eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, at the time appointed in the new month of Aviv. When you came out of Mizraim, and do not appear before me empty-handed. And the festival of the harvest, the first fruit of your labors, which you have sown in the field. And the festival of the ingathering, at the outgoing of the year, when you have gathered in the fruit of your labors from the field. 3 times in the year all your males are to appear before the Master YaHuWaH. Do not slaughter the blood of my slaughtering with leavened bread, and the fat of my festival shall not remain until morning. Bring the first of the firstfruits of your land into the house of YaHuWaH your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. See, I am sending a messenger before you to guard you in the way, and to bring you in the place which I have prepared. Be on guard before him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression, for my name is in him.
Let me just comment something quickly, because it's talking about the 3 festivals that men are commanded to. And I think this is go to Jerusalem. I think this is also a beautiful prophetic picture of what's happening, and it's my current understanding. I'm gonna go straight forward on what I understand this. It's talking about the 3 feasts, and it's talking about a complete regathering. Everybody needed to go to Jerusalem. The men are commanded to go, but they were bringing the family and the Levites and and everybody. So I do believe that the important things will happen during those 3 times, prophetically speaking. What I do believe that's going to happen during Matzot, is what is, and I was sharing this some study, is that I think it says that they should not go empty-handed. And one thing that is related to Matzot is the firstborns. I remember we were doing this study and we were sharing is that they were having the old grain because Reshit Katzir is starting after Matzot in the calendar we're following. So what they were bringing as an offering, in order not to be empty-handed, they were bringing the firstborn of the beast, of the lambs, and so on, even of the kids, as is commanded, but they were ransoming the son, as written in the book of Shemot. And this is connected, I think, to the second Exodus. I think second Exodus will start during that period of time, and it's so connected to the first Exodus because it's exactly when it started. Then we have Shavuot. Is coming with the barley and the wheat. And that's the offering.
And you bring the 2 pieces of bread.
And we see actually.
Well, traditionally the challah comes.
And we see the parables of Yahushua saying, comparing us with the wheat, the fields of wheat. We see what is written in the book of Revelation, that he's gonna send his sickle in order to gather the wheat of the field. So I do believe that this is gonna happen during second Exodus. It's gonna be the completion of the renewed covenant. It is written in so many prophecies that he's gonna gather us to the wilderness, and he's gonna enter into judgment face to face with us, and he's gonna renew the covenant with us there. So I do believe that's gonna happen somehow in a Shavuot. So everything started with the second Exodus, great Exodus, Matzot. He's gonna renew completely the covenant with the 2 houses regathered during Shavuot. And Sukkot is the final rest. Is when the kingdom is being established.
He's going to put his tent over us.
Exactly. He's descending to establish together with us, because we are going to be lifted up to the sky for a moment. And I still remember that dream that I had. It was and you had the same, right? And similar. Recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
a couple of days before.
Yes, that was picked up somehow and was flying, and I was standing in a glass or something like that. I couldn't see it; it was invisible, and I knew there was more people around me. I was seeing everything what was happening on the air because it was transparent, and I knew I was in the air. So this is exactly what the rapture is: that he's not giving us to the third heaven; he's lifting up to the air in order to be protected of his wrath.
That is going to
And
be
he's
true.
gonna come down with all of us to the earth during Sukkot in order to establish the kingdom. So I think that's why the picture we have on the restoration during those three important feasts is so important, because that's why he established those three feasts as a commandment, a mitzvot, that we need to go to Jerusalem, is the regathering of his people. Let's continue.
Okay.
So you were talking about the messenger. Let's read from 20, I think, onward, because he's talking a lot about the messenger here.
I am sending a messenger before you to guard you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Be on guard before him and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression, for my name is in him.
Who has the name of the Father?
YaHuWaH.
YaHuWaH, save,
salvation.
salvation, all salvation of YaHuWaH.
Yeah. But if you diligently obey his voice and shall do all that I speak, then I shall be an enemy to your enemies, and a distresser to those who distress you. For my messenger shall go before you, and shall bring you into the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I shall cut them off.
I have a summary here of what he's gonna do, the messenger, but it's Yahushua is talking about Mashiach. Guard us in the way, bring us to the land.
Yeah.
We need to obey his voice. We have not to be rebel against him. He will be the one judging. He will judge, and Abba's name is in him.
Yeah.
So, and he was talking so much that he was not speaking by himself. He was speaking what Abba was telling him to speak. He was speaking Abba's word, and we need to take heed of his voice. We don't need to rebel. And actually, the promise is so great here, is that he said, but if you diligently obey his voice and shall do all that I speak. You see, Abba is speaking through his messenger, and we need to obey the voice of the messenger, because what the messenger is saying is Abba's word. Then I shall be, YaHuWaH will be an enemy to your enemies and a distresser to those who distress you. In a time of distress as we are now, I think this passage is becoming more relevant. How to feel confident that we have protection. How to feel protected. We are going to be in distress anyway, because what's going on is crazy. But how to feel more confident and feel more protected is by obeying the voice of YaHuWaH through Yahushua.
Being aligned with him.
Correct.
Do not bow down to their mighty ones, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but without fail overthrow them, and without fail break down their pillars. And you shall serve YaHuWaH your Elohim, and he shall bless your bread and your water, and I shall remove sickness from your midst. None shall miscarry or be barren in your land. I shall fill the number of your days. I shall send my fear before you, and cause confusion among all the people to whom you come, and make all your enemies turn their backs to you. And I shall send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before you.
So the terror,
The
merchants.
No, this is the villagers, the
No,
first one.
starting from the back.
You started
yeah.
from
But anyway,
back.
it's
Yeah.
the villagers, the merchants, or
the merchants, or the
and the
Hittite,
terrorists.
the terrorists. Yeah, and when I read it, I'm always thinking about how we feel. What are the feelings that we have? For instance, that he's going to take from our lives the wanting to be with all the rest, like to be in group, in mass, So we are not going to be part of the society like it is right now anymore, because we want to be from him.
But it's removing from inside out those feeling, but also removing from the around us.
And the Canaanites, because maybe our interests are not in the
It's the lust of the flesh.
Yeah, and also in the how do you call the
Money.
The money and that kind of stuff.
Material things.
Yeah, material things. And the Hittites, because we are not going to feel like afraid anymore in terms of terror, or because I'm afraid of this and that. Even though we know that we are living very difficult situation, we are confident and we are having a different kind of shalom that maybe not everybody has.
And you know, the beautiful thing here is that it's not us doing something. It's YaHuWaH. He's promised that he is going to remove them.
Yeah.
It's not us.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw the question from Yarash is that, but aren't we supposed to love them, Juan Carlos? And yes, Yahushua is instructing us to love our enemies, those that are hating us.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not us the one that we are gonna do something. Is that we commit ourselves to YaHuWaH, because it says in the verse 25, and you shall serve YaHuWaH your Elohim. If we serve YaHuWaH, and you know, everything we started with this portion is becoming a bond servant. If we become a bond servant, and we are really servants, real servants of YaHuWaH, he is a part of the contract we are signing with him, the blood contract, the blood covenant, is that he is going to do all of this for us. And what he's going to do for us is basically, he is going to put the fear, and you know, on the 27, I shall send my fear before you, and cause confusion among all of the people to whom you come. You know, one thing I always wondering is that what's going to be our participation on the punishment that he's bringing. Because, you know, Israel in the beginning, YaHuWaH commanded to do something and to destroy certain peoples, the 7 nations. And they had to do it because it was the commandment of YaHuWaH. So what's going to happen at the end? I do believe that we are going to have a active participation on the establishment, and maybe on the removing part of the enemies of YaHuWaH, because we need to do a differentiation between who are the enemies of YaHuWaH and who are our own enemies. You know, we can have enemies all over the place, or people hating us all over the place, but there are specific nations that are the enemies of YaHuWaH, the 7 nations, and the YaHuWaH is treating them in a different way.
And I think at one point it says that everybody is going to know who is YaHuWaH. So what is going to happen? That everybody who at one point they were maybe hating us, or they were not wanting to hear something that we were bringing to them, their eyes are going to be open at that time. And what is going to happen? Not only YaHuWaH knows what is going to do with them, but is something that is going. Imagine that if a lot of time somebody wants to bring you a message that it was going to save your life, and you were the one refusing. You were saying no, I'm against that people because I see that in a bad way. How are you going to feel when you, I don't know, the scales are falling from your eyes and you are seeing, wow, I didn't want to receive it, and this was the salvation for me. So I think that even that is going to be part maybe of the punishment. And
you know, I just reading Yerash is bringing an important point as well. The love Yahushua talks about is to our own brethren and those who instruct us, just people, not the heathens.
And
so I think it's something to consider as well and to study.
And here it says that he's going to, and make all your enemies turn their backs to you. What's that meaning? That at the end we are going to take different ways. So at the end they're not going to be close anymore. So where are your enemies? They are not here anymore. I cannot see them.
True.
So that's it.
Okay, let's continue.
And I shall not drive them out from before you in 1 year, lest the land become a waste, and the beasts of the field becomes too numerous for you. Little by little I shall tread them out from before you, until you have increased, and you inherit the land. And I shall set your border from the sea of reeds to the sea of the Philistines, and from the wilderness to the river. For I shall give the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. Do not make a covenant with them, nor with their mighty ones. Let them not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me, when you serve the mighty ones, when it becomes a snare to you.
Yeah. You know, I have a summary here of a warning against idolatry in this portion in the chapter 23. In the verse 13, it says that not even to mention their names of the idols. Not do according in the verse 24, not do according to other people's works. Because they are committing idolatry and they can snare us and send us away, far away from the way of YaHuWaH. Verse 32, not to make a covenant with them. And the verse 24 also is mentioning, and let me look for it, is to destroy from our lives. And I think this is something that we need to do every day. Do not bow down to their mighty ones, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but without fail overthrow them, and without fail break down their pillars. So, you know, we can apply this spiritually, emotionally speaking, not necessarily physically.
But also physically.
Physically too, yeah, I'm not saying the opposite. But, you know, we need to start from within. And sometimes we need to start from without. Yeah. That's true. You know, that's the beautiful thing of the parables of YaHuWaH. He was giving parables to the people that they can apply, you know, in their day-to-day, knowing that it has a deeper meaning. So YaHuWaH works in the two directions, from outside in and from inside out.
Yeah.
So maybe we have some idols inside.
And for instance, for me, it's something that was, I don't know, it's an example. When I remember, and I was little, and I used to celebrate Christmas and that kind of celebrations that the world, that the world celebrates. And when my eyes were open, because I don't know, from one moment, it was like YaHuWaH was telling me, look the origin of every festivity that you are keeping. Look the origin. And when I realize that all the festivities that the world is celebrating are against his commands, are against him, are always related to idolatry, are always related to images. But when people don't want to see, and you cannot convince them, you cannot do anything else, just praying. And someday they are going to do the same. Someday it's going to be revealed to them. And I think that is also telling us that we cannot be part of the world. Because even though now I understand, when I was little and some girl was not doing a kind of celebration, and I said, well, that family is very weird because they do not celebrate that. How dare you? Yeah, you did that? And now I realized that they were in the correct path years ago. So, and we don't have to judge. Everybody has their own time. So, in the middle of trouble, if we serve YaHuWaH, and you just on the same thought of earlier, he's gonna remove the distresses, the oppressions out of our lives. But I highlighted this one in verse 30. He's gonna do it little by little. Yeah. We should not expect, because he did it in the same way with Israel. If we apply this to our lives, he's gonna do exactly in the same way with us. Yeah. He has been doing it little by little. So that's why we need to keep obedience to his word in order for him to continue removing little by little. Because if he tried to remove everything at once, we cannot manage. We cannot manage. We cannot manage exactly. It's going to be overwhelming for us, man. True. He knows our limitations. So let's go, you know, and we're taking 2 hours, more than 2 hours. Yeah. Double speed. Double speed? Yeah. No, they're not going to understand me. I'm going too fast. So let's do it. Verse 1 of the chapter 24. And to Moshe he said, come up to YaHuWaH, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 of the elders of Israel. And you shall bow yourselves from a distance.
But Moshe shall draw near to YaHuWaH himself, and let them not draw near, nor let the people go up with him. And Moshe came and related to the people all the words of YaHuWaH and all the Mishpatim, all the right rulings. And all the people answered with one voice, being echad, and said, it's exactly the same. We need to repeat ourselves every day, every week, every year, but do it with intention, meaning what we are saying. All the words which YaHuWaH has spoken, we shall do. We hear and we do. And Moshe wrote down all the words of YaHuWaH and rose up early in the morning and built a slaughter place at the foot of the mountain.
Like the one that we see in the video.
And 12 standing columns for the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, I'm going to stop there because I was looking for a picture of that altar because I saw it in a video some years ago. And I found a video of, I think it's in a site that they are scheduling trips to this place, to Saudi Arabia. And no matter that I'm not trying to promote their sites and they're not promoting us, I found the video so beautiful is that I want to share with you because it's showing the place, and actually one of the places it showed is exactly the altar that Moshe built. So let me share this video with you because it's a beautiful one.
Maybe some of you already have seen
the
images, but they're very nice.
So here we go. It's so beautiful to see those pictures, those images.
Yeah.
It's so much evidence that what YaHuWaH have done.
And some people say that it's operative.
Yeah, exactly. I can be totally wrong, but I have this feeling for a while already is that YaHuWaH has allowed to preserve those places because it's in Saudi Arabia. They could destroy all of that, but they haven't. Why? I think somehow YaHuWaH has not allowed them to destroy all of this. Not only to have an evidence of what he did, because remember it is written that he did all of this in order to make his name known. And what a way to make his way known by having all of these evidences now in our days. But I think it's not only because of that. I think he has allowed all of this to remain all this time, because most probably the story is gonna repeat itself. During Second Exodus, this is what I feel for a long time. During Second Exodus, we will go through those same places. It's in the wilderness. Can you imagine how powerful would be to repeat all over again, but from the four corners of the earth, and to go to the same places where the first generation went, and they were unable to inherit the place because of disobedience. But now we are going to be able to inherit the land, the promised land, because of obedience. Is to complete the renewed covenant in the same place that he completed the first covenant. And that's what I have been feeling for a while already, and it would be awesome for this to happen in this way. So one of the places they showed is what it believes to be the 12 standing columns for the slaughter place, and the 12 standing columns for the 12 tribes of Israel. So let's continue just to complete the chapter. It says, and he sent young men of the children of Israel, and they offered ascending offerings and slaughter offerings of peace offerings to YaHuWaH of bulls. And Moshe took half the blood and put it in basins, and half the blood he sprinkled on the slaughter place. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the hearing of the people. A servant hearing. The book of the covenant is the Mishpatim, the instruction given by YaHuWaH. And they said, again, all that YaHuWaH has spoken, we shall do and obey. And Moshe took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, see the blood of the covenant which YaHuWaH has made with you concerning all of these words. The blood of the covenant, it was a blood of bulls. And I think I was speaking about this when in the study of the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahushua in the last part, I think, when I was talking about, what was the offering of Yahushua? Was a lamb, was a goat, a bull, and I was speaking in more depth about all of this. And in this case was the blood of a bull that served as the blood of the covenant, that's first covenant. And it was sprinkled all over the people. We were talking about in the first chapter of this portion about the blood of the year and how symbolized a covenant. And Moshe went up also Aaron, Nadab and Abihu. And it's interesting what I told you earlier, that they was the first two sons of Aaron. It doesn't mention here that Eliezer and Itamar was there. It were the two Kohanim that finally died because of disobedience of bringing the strange fire into the altar. They were the one getting closer to YaHuWaH.
And in one place, I don't remember where, when you know more and you sin, maybe your punishment is even more severe.
Exactly. And they saw the Elohim of Israel. So how we can understand this? YaHuWaH said nobody has seen Elohim, only the Son. So who they saw? The messenger, Yahushua. Exactly. And under his feet like a paved work of sapphire stone, and like the heavens for brightness. What an amazing view they had, Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the chief of the children of Israel, and they saw Elohim, and they ate and drank. And YaHuWaH said to Moshe, come up to me on the mountain and be there, while I give you tablets of stone, and the Torah and the command which I have written to teach them. And Moshe arose with his assistant YaHuWaH, and this is Joshua, son of Nun. And Moshe went up to the mountain of Elohim. And he said to the elders, wait here for us until we come back to you. And see, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has matters, let him go to them. So you told me something that is really interesting when we were reading this before, is that it's in the same way that YaHuWaH was doing it with the disciples. You know, it was a kind of three different groups. One group that they were able to see Elohim, but they were unable to get closer. Then you have YaHuWaH ben Nun, that was getting closer than this third group of the elders. And you have the last group is Moshe, that he was
the only one who was there.
Yeah, indeed, in the same place. It says, and Moshe went up into the mountain, and a cloud covered the mountain, and the steam of YaHuWaH dwelt on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. And on the 7th day he called to Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. You know, the Kadosh cycle once again. He saw the presence of YaHuWaH, and only in the 7th day he was able to enter in. And you know, during the last days video study that I did here in the channel, I remember I mentioned that when we read in context the prophecies of the end times in Matthew chapter 24 and also in Hasson, we can see clearly two phases of the second coming of YaHuWaH. One phase where everybody will see him. Everybody will see the cloud. And it's the same here as we see here. You know, the scene of YaHuWaH dwelt in the Mount Sinai, and a cloud covered it for 6 days. So everybody was able to see the cloud for 6 days. That's the first phase when we read in context the prophecies of the second coming. And the second phase is when we are able to be regathered or to be lifted up. So he's coming, but he's not descending. He's just showing himself to the world. Sky's open. Everybody sees him, but he's not descending yet. So in this case, we see exactly the same situation. He's showing himself, but Moshe is not allowed to go into his presence until the last day. And it's exactly what I believe that is going to happen to us. We are going to go into his presence in that second phase in the same way that Moshe was experiencing. And the appearance of the steam of YaHuWaH was like a consuming fire on the top of the mountain, before the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moshe went into the midst of the cloud and went up into the mountain. And it came to be that Moshe was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. And this is, you know, a complete parallel to the covenant. Let's just review it quickly. Matthew chapter 26, verse 27 and 28, during the last Pesach. And taking the cup and giving thanks to YaHuWaH, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant, which is shed for many of the forgiveness of sin. You know, he is the one giving us the blood of the new covenant, and he's sprinkling his blood on us in order to be part of the covenant in the same way that Moshe did it in the first covenant. And you know, I have a note here that maybe, I know it's late, but we should mention, and I remember it was very beautiful. You remember this one?
No.
You know, what was the purpose of YaHuWaH, what he was doing with a foreshadow, and somehow it's connected to everything what we have been reading. You know, is the Mishpatim, is the being obedient to Torah, by the being a servant, a born servant of YaHuWaH, because of love of him, willingly, voluntarily, and hearing and doing in order to receive the promises. The messenger of YaHuWaH, it will be the one guiding us. And that messenger, being YaHuWaH HaMashiach, is somehow completing by his blood the covenant, the renewed covenant, meaning the Torah within us, written in our hearts. And there is a beautiful picture of this, of what was the YaHuWaH and the 12 doing, in confirming that they were teaching all of this somehow in this picture. And it's in the book of Nehemiah. This is Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 5 to 8. You know, this is in the time of Ezra. They were building the second temple. They were coming back from the exile from Babylon. And we see here, just read from verse 5 to 8. It says, "And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was above all the people. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra, Baruch, blessed YaHuWaH, the great Elohim. Then all the people answered, Amen, Amen, while lifting up their hands. And they bowed their heads and worshipped YaHuWaH with faces to the ground." You know, this is an example for us, you know, worship YaHuWaH, lifting up our hands, bowing down our heads to worship Him. And listen to this in the verse 7. "And Yeshua," this is in Aramaic, is YaHuWaH, "and Bani, and Sherebiah, or Sherebiah, Yamim, Akuf, Shabbatai, Hodiyah, Maaseyah, Kelitah, Azariah, Kosabat, Hanan, Pelayah, and the Levites, caused the people to understand the Torah, while the people were in their place. And they read in the book of the Torah of Elohim, translating to give the sense and cause them to understand the reading." What's the picture? It's a YaHuWaH with 12 more.
The 12.
YaHuWaH in this case, and this is a very, very relevant YaHuWaH, because it's the same one that is mentioned in the book of Zechariah, that is the prophecy about this is the branch. It's the same person. So it's the picture of this YaHuWaH plus 12, with what purpose? Is to cause the people to understand the Torah and to read in the book of the Torah, translating the Torah to give the sense and to cause the people to understand the reading. And this is exactly what YaHuWaH did, does, will continue doing, is helping us to understand Torah, helping us and causing us to understand the way of YaHuWaH and how to apply Torah in our lives. And I think that's a good way to finish this broadcast.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add? No? Really?
Yeah.
You want to go to sleep?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. To have lunch.
No, more sleeping, not having lunch.
Good. So it's been a blessing, you know. We took more
Yeah.
time, maybe because of
It was 4 chapters, so that's why.
was short for chapter, and because we have not done it for 3 weeks already.
Yeah, a lot of information and
Yes.
a lot of things to share.
So it has been a good time with you together in this Shabbat, and we like it so much.
Yeah.
We're smiling because of that,
Yeah.
because of the joy of YaHuWaH in our hearts.
And thank
And
you.
we really hope that this has been a blessing to you as well. Thank you for joining us. You know, I only see 33 likes and 48 of you connected. So I'm gonna ask you to like this video, so most probably more people will get this thing, so they can enjoy also the study we have done today. So we will see each other again next week, next Shabbat, with the next portion. It could be that, you know, I'm having a business trip in 2 weeks from now, so I'm not gonna be able to do this this study. But next week we are gonna be here, so I'm gonna let you know with time when it's happening. Okay. But it's a blessing to be with you again, and I hope to see you. We hope to see you next week in next Shabbat. Have a wonderful Shabbat, a wonderful week. YaHuWaH be with you all.
Thank you
so much.
And for being part of our family, and
let us be part of your family.
Part of your family, the family of YaHuWaH.
Good. So let's finish with a song, you know. I like this one. We are going to repeat it. We have been hearing this sometimes here in these portions, but let's repeat it again because it's a kind of
happy song.
It's a happy song, and also it's showing, you know, the diversity in the good way, not in the bad way of the word. of the people of YaHuWaH
Yeah.
today.
Around the world.
Let
Yeah.
me put this one, and thank you so much. Blessings. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.